All right, everybody. Sorry again that I can't be there today, but luckily you have Mr. Burnett. He'll be able to help you out, and he's a good teacher, and he's awesome, so that'll be perfect. What I've done for you today is I've created a video. And in this video, I'm basically going to give the lessons I would have given in class today. And you can hear my voice, and you can watch what I'm doing. So you can see that I'm going to be using Scratch and moving things around. You also have the actual files that I'm going to use in the folder on the in-out folder. Okay, there's one that says CCA or something like that, and there's one that says 14-12-03 Dr. Harris Scratch without the finished. That is the basic file that I'm working with. You can use that if you want, or you can use your particular one that we worked on last week. It's up to you. When I'm done with this video, I'm going to save this file as finished, and that will also be in the folder. And so you can go back and see the code that I actually created right there live as we go along. Now, this video is going to last about 10-15 minutes, and there's going to be a lot to it. Like, we're going to go over a lot of content today. I have 3 big things I want you to do, and it's going to be a lot. So I don't want you to watch the whole thing. What I want you to do is, as you're going along, pause the video. Go back, listen to it again, try it again, and do it at the same time while you're listening. Don't just watch it and go, okay, I get it, and then go work on your own. I want you to go through, watch me do some code, pause the video, go to your work, do the same code on your work, and then come back to the video and maybe rewind it, okay? And I'll give you a few clues along the way as, like, this is a good place to stop, all right? By the time we're done, you should be able to do some of the things that we've done in the video here and kind of have a better feel for what you can do with your game. All right, so what we're going to do now is let's talk about what we created already. So what I have already is this game where I press the space bar, and then my triangle tries to run away from that little gobo guy, right? And remember, we use the arrow keys to move him around. Well, at some point, we hit him, the game's over. I lose, okay? Now, if I just keep moving around forever, I can probably avoid him, but that gets a little boring. So what we're going to talk about today is how do you make him jump, okay? So like if you were imagining your game, your character moves along and there's a, I don't know, maybe over here somewhere there's a little box or something, and he touches the box and he can fly to the other side. Okay, we're going to do that today. We're going to make him jump. All right? So the first thing I want to do, okay, is add some code in here to make him jump. All right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Control. I'm going to get another if. So let me pull an if out here. All right. Then I'm going to go to Sensing, and I'll come down here and get a key. So key pressed. And this time I'm going to change it to A. So A is going to make him jump. All right. Pretty cool. But he's got to go somewhere. So where is he going to go? Well, if we go into Motion, we're going to put a go to. Okay. So go to X, Y. So this one right now says 157. 100 on the X is somewhere over here, and 57 on the Y is somewhere over here. So it's really where he is already at this point. That's fine. That's a fine location. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to make it go into the center. And the center, as we know, is 0, 0. Okay? So what I've done right now is I've made a set of code. I would recommend for you to pause the video, rewind it, maybe watch it again, and then go and do the same thing on yours. Okay? All right, let's keep going. So what I'm going to do now is take that code and put it down here at the bottom. Now remember, you can add. We want it inside this forever because all of these other ifs inside the forever tell the triangle what to do if particular keys are pressed. So we're going to add one. And make sure you don't add it right here. If I add it here, watch what happens. I've got an if inside of an if. This is a common problem that we run into. Okay? So one thing I want you to think about is what happens if I have an if inside of an if. All right, so let's change this up a bit. We're going to take this back out, and we can just drag it out. So let me drag it, okay, and put it down here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right here. Okay, this would be another good place to pause and go and check your work. All right, so now what I have is I have the A. If A is pressed, go to 0, 0. Okay, let's start our game again. Okay, and I'll move around, and I'm going to hide, and okay, I get over here, and now he's starting to chase me. He gets close, and I hit A. Oh, look, I jumped away, and look, he's back to following me because his code says follow me no matter what. Okay, if I go over here and I hit A, boom. Oh, but I still hit him. Okay? So you'll notice that by pressing the A key, I jump right to the middle. Pretty cool, right? That'll be very helpful for you. This would be a good place to pause and try your game out. All right, let's make it a little bit more complicated. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this off to the side, okay? Because we may use it later. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it because we're going to change it up a little bit, and I'm going to teach you a little bit more about Scratch. So right-click on it and do duplicate. Okay. Okay. So this might be a good place to pause as well to make sure that you've pulled out the code and you have 2 copies of it. All right. Now, we don't always want him to jump to the middle. He may need to jump to a random place, right? It's kind of like being in a wormhole in space. You never know where you're going to end up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so he doesn't go to 0, 0 every time. He goes to a random location. Okay? So if you go under Operators, that's the green one over here, you go to Operators, and you'll notice that there is this choice to pick random. So let's pick random and put it there. And I'm actually going to need 2. The reason I need 2 is because I need 1 for the X and 1 for the Y. Okay? So let's take this and put it inside the X like that. Let it go. You can't really see it, so I'll pull it out over here. And let's put this in there. Okay, now make sure you don't drop it in there, because then you'll have a random picking a random. We don't want that. I want it right here. Okay, so if you've done this right, your code should look like that. This would be a good place to pause and go make sure that you have the right code. Okay, now that I have my random numbers, I'm going to go to here and put it in. So now what I've done is I've said, if I press A, pick a random X and a random Y. Okay, so let's try it out. So I'm going to go and I'm going to press A. Oh, and I died. Let me try it again. A. Now, you know what I noticed about that? He's not moving very far. Why is he not moving very far? Somebody probably just yelled out the answer. That's fine. He's not moving very far because the random numbers they're picking are only between 1 and 10. We need to pick bigger numbers. And here's how we're going to choose what numbers we want to pick. Watch my arrow move, but then I want you to watch these numbers down at the bottom. So the X goes this way, right? This was the X and this was the Y. Well, I want to pick a random X between here and here. So if I move the X over, if I move my mouse over here, you'll see that the X is minus 236. And if I move over here, it's plus 236, okay? So what we're going to do here is we're actually not going to use 236. We're going to say minus 220, just to be safe, to 220, okay? So the X is going to pick a number somewhere between negative 220 and positive 220. Pretty cool, right? All right. So now I'll do the Y, and then I think you should pause to make sure that you have the right numbers in there. So let's go, instead of going to the side, we're going to go up and down. Okay? So if I go down to the bottom, you'll see that it's about minus 179. If I go to the top, it's about 176. So here's what I'm going to put in this time. I'm going to say minus 160. This is for the Y. See the Y here? And then plus 160. Okay? So now my random numbers are going to have me jumping all over the screen. Okay, so let me press the spacebar again. Oh, well that was bad. Let me try it again. Oh, he's jumping a lot. Okay, that's because it's doing 2 random numbers and it's doing it really, really fast. Okay, and sometimes the random numbers are going to drop you right on the guy. So this is a bit of strategy for my game. If I hit the spacebar, I don't want to jump until he's right up on me. Okay, so let's let him get really close. And then I'll press the A, okay? And sometimes it jumps around, okay? When it jumps around, it might mean these numbers are too big, so you might need to make the numbers a little bit smaller, okay? So that's a good place to pause. All right, so we have now learned 2 different pieces of code. Let me move them over just so you can see them all. So I'm going to move this over here, and I'll move that here and that there. So I can randomly jump to a new place, okay? Or I can jump directly to the middle. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a portal. So we're running, and then I need to run away. So I'm going to create a new sprite. Okay. And I'm going to do a very, very basic, boring sprite. I'm going to create just a little square like this. And let's make the color a little different just so it's a little bit more interesting. Okay. So I'm going to make a yellow box like that. Okay. So this is going to be my portal, my jumping piece. And I'm going to move him over here. Okay. And we've talked about this before, that when you create a new sprite, you should give it a name. So I'm going to call this portal yellow. Okay. So why don't you pause, create a portal, make it whatever color you want, and give it a good name. Okay. Now I also want another one, because he's got to jump somewhere, right? He can't just go through the portal and not go anywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate. Okay, so now I've got two of them. This one I'm going to click on, and I'm going to change him a little bit, because I don't want two yellow ones. So what I've done is I've duplicated them, so I have two, and now I'm going to change the color. Okay, so we did yellow before. I'm going to do, say, green. Okay, so I'll come over here and make him green. All right. Okay, so now I've got a green one, and I will call this portal green. Okay, so I've given them good names, and I'm going to put them on opposite sides. All right, good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, and you'll notice where I put the portals. The reason I've put them here is because when I start, if you remember, this guy starts up here, and this guy starts down there. Okay, right? So I can't have the portals right near me. All right, so now what I need to do is I'm going to code my guy to make sure the portals work. This is probably a good place to pause so that you make sure that your portals are in the right place, they have good names, and that they're not close to where your starting point is. Okay? Okay, so let's get back to it. What I'm going to suggest is that we need to put some code to tell the triangle to jump once it touches the portal. Okay? So the question is, do you put the code on the triangle or on the portal? And the answer is, since the triangle is the one going to be doing the work, you put it on the triangle. Okay? So let's click on the triangle. I'll click on him here. Okay? And now we'll go back to our code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another if. Okay? If. And what do you think we're going to look for? Well, if you go into sensing, there's some choices up here on the top. You can have it touching a particular sprite. And notice I've got my portals there under the sprite. We're going to choose that in just a minute. You can have it touching a color. So if you have different parts of your portal, where there's like a black part and a yellow part, so it has to touch only part of it, you can do that. Or you can do this when color is touching color. So if I have part of my triangle and I need the tip to touch the tip, you can do that as well. We're going to make this simple though, just so we understand how to do it. So I'm going to click on this, drag it over. This is my touching one, and I'm going to say when it touches the yellow portal. Okay, when it touches the yellow portal, I'm going to have it go to. We'll just do a go to for now. Okay, I'm going to have it go to a particular location. And let's say again I do 0, 0. Okay, so instead of pressing A like we did before, what I have is this code that says if I touch the portal, you're going to go to the center. All right, so this is a good place to pause to make sure that you have this code block ready to go. Okay, the code block is ready, so let's put it in. And now I'm going to run my code. So I'm going to hit the space bar, and I'm going to run away. Oh, did you see what happened? Let's try it again. So I go here, boom, he jumps there. Okay. Okay, so if I hit the yellow one, I go to the middle. Oh, I got to be careful because sometimes that guy is there. And this is what we want in our game. We want to make it so it doesn't just automatically make it easy to win. You have to have a strategy. So my strategy is I don't want to go too close to that guy. So if that guy is still in the middle, I don't want to hit the portal yet. Okay? All right. So this is a good place to pause. Go back and make sure that your portal is working right and it's going to the middle. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to change this because I don't want the portal, I don't want to go from this portal to the middle, I want to go to the other portal. So what I'm going to do, let's take this code block out again, and I'm going to take the goto out and get rid of it. Okay, and there's a different one now. So the goto before was a particular location. Now I'm going to do goto, okay, but I'm going to go to a particular sprite. Okay, so I'm actually going to go to another sprite. So I can go to portal green. Now if I put this in here, instead of going to a location like that did, I have now go to portal green. All right, good? All right, so let's give it a try. This is a good place to pause again. Make sure your code is right. Here, I'll move it out one more time. Okay. Oops. Okay. No, I didn't move it out. Oh, look at that. Isn't that cool? Boom. Okay. So I hit there and I run away. Okay. So now I've got a way of protecting my guy and running away. Boom. Now let's die just so we can die. Okay. Okay. So give this a try. Give this a try. Make sure that you can make things jump. The 3 different code blocks that I want you to try are these. When you press a key, it goes to a particular location. When you press a key, it goes to a random location. And when you touch a sprite, it goes to another sprite. As you're doing that, I want you to think about how you're going to use this for your game. Okay? So if we're doing a game that has a maze where you're getting chased, I have to touch something in order to start the next level. Okay? If I'm collecting little tokens, I'm going to need to, I might need to be able to run away like we did in Pac-Man. Okay, so you go and you click on that, you go and hit that, and it takes you to the other side. Think about some ways that you can use that for your game. All right, the challenge for you now, if you finished all of this and you feel like you're very good at what you're doing, what I want you to do is to make these portals move. Okay, so have them move back and forth, up and down, so that when I'm running away, the portal's not always in the same place. Make it more challenging. Okay? All right, if you finish all of that and you finish the challenge, you can work on your animation, you can experiment, you can do whatever you want. Okay? Have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.